Hey y'all, welcome to the Fill-In Station. It's a new day, another opportunity to either make money in this market or to just learn from the market. But first, y'all, let me give my disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I just enjoy teaching people how to build generational wealth. And yes, the stock market is just one of those avenues. So this video is for educational purposes only. But if you could please like, share, subscribe, y'all. I said so often, we learn and we grow together. With that being said, let's get started. So we are looking at AMD, and I just noticed how we just did low of this candle 197.34, high of this candle 197.34, high 227. So I think that's what kind of had me at a different place. Like, what in the world happened? And as we see all of these little lines. That's because we just made a strong move, right? So I always say, where are the trouble places? But y'all see, let me point this out really quick. Even though we ran up to that 227, do you see how close we got to that, where price could have ran to? I love to see that. And to me, it's just support and resistance. And I'll make it visible to where I can see it and understand it, right? I know looking at my charts may seem a little bit overwhelming, but I could possibly tell you what the trouble places are. As with this candle here, you see it got very close to that area, right? Yeah. So where are the trouble places for AMD? We closed at 196.60, and as you can see, we ran up to that 227, got rejected, came back down to the low of this candle, 213.64. So let's look to the upside, right? So if we continue this path that we're on, 217.38 could be a trouble place, 217.98, 218.59, 219.13, 219.41, not far away, breaking that 219.89. Now, should we break that? 221.15 is what I have, but the high of this candle is the 221. So breaking that 221 area, or 221.15, 221.49, and should we break that, 222.05, breaking that 222.05, the next level, 222.58. So those are possible areas, and breaking those, y'all see the many places here up to the 224.49 area. We could possibly have trouble again in breaking that 224.49 area. 224.49, yes, breaking that, we could very well come back to the 227, which is interesting, as you can see, right? So back to the downside, let's look to the downside. Breaking under the 213.46, we can come back to, there's a few layers, let's say at 212.48, all the way down to the 209.74. There's a few places in between this, right? And guess what? That 5 EMA is right there at the 210.49, so we could very well find support here and keep climbing, or we could drop or keep dropping, right? So let's say we break under the 209.74 for AMD, possibly 208.36, and should we break that, you see the ATR trailing stop is right at a level that we have marked here around the 207.67. I just love to see that, y'all. So breaking that for AMD today, possibly come back to 206.36, 204.88, and breaking that 203.79. Should we break that, 202.90 could be a support area for us. Breaking that 202.90, which is somewhere here, yes, breaking that. Y'all see the 20 EMA is right there at the 202.03. That is an area of support. So if you're trading AMD today, it just made an interesting move, and it looks a little bit different because of the move that it just made, right? But those are a lot of trouble places to the upside and to the downside. And what I love to see is, I wouldn't have known that this line would have been here at all, let's say that, but it's important to mark our support and our resistance, even especially if you're not using the moving averages, let's say that. So let's go look at Meta today, and hopefully it's a little bit clearer. Yes, okay, so Meta looks like it's flagging on this 30-minute chart, not financial advice, let me say that right now, right? So it looks like we are creating a flag here, just possibly, let's say that, right? So we closed at 637.25. And it seems as if we've come down, found support at the 631.88. That's really close to the 631.73 area that I have marked. And the trouble places, we will need to get back above the 635.43. Should we break that 636.79? and breaking that 637.70. Should we break that 638.62 and breaking that 639.97? Now breaking the 639 area or the 640.42 area, we could possibly have trouble again 641.47, and y'all see that 200, that 20, no, that is the 50 EMA. It is there at 640.86. So if you're trading Meta today, those are possible areas of resistance to the upside. Now let's say we break that 50 EMA at 640.86. We can still have trouble around 641.98, 642.60, 643.20, 643.98, and y'all see that 200 EMA is right there at a level that we have marked at the 644.99. Again, we would not have known that it was going to be there. Just simple support and resistance, right? So let's look back to the downside. Say we break under the 633.80, we could possibly come back to 632.74, breaking that 631.73 and breaking that 630.17. Now breaking the 630.17, we could possibly come back to around 628.18 and breaking that 626.43. Now breaking that 626.43 for Meta today, possibly 624.96. And I'm going to see if I can go and figure out if that is a bear flag, what the target would be. I'm going to just go to my little calculator here, right? So try to see what that is, and how I would come up with that is I'll go to the high of this candle, which is 641.16, and then I will subtract the low. I'm going to use this. Well, let's just say we can use the low of this candle here, right? 632.07. And I come up with $9.09. I'm going to subtract it from here because that's where we will break out of that at around 633. If I subtract 633.44 from that, I have a target today for Meta around the 624.35. I said around because, again, I didn't use this. I used this one, which was really close. Well, yeah, it's right there at it, right? 624.35 is the target that I have for Meta today based on if this is a bear flag. Again, not financial advice. I said follow your instructions, your patterns, whatever it is that your plan. Let's say that. Yes, let's follow your plan, not financial advice. This is what I see when I look at the market, and I say it. Anything is possible in the market. So, again, I do see what looks to be a bear flag for Meta, and again, the target could possibly be around the 624.35 area. So let's go look at NVIDIA just to see where we are today. We closed at 190.155. Ooh, it looks as if we've come down and bounced off of, look, that 200 EMA, but y'all see we're really close to an area that I have marked at this 183.892, 188.92. Yes, now it looks as if it created a hammer back to the upside. So let's look and see where the trouble places are. 5 EMA is right there at a level that we have marked. I love to see it, 190.87. So if we get back above the 190.87, 190.104, 190.130, breaking that, we can use that moving average, which is the 50 EMA as of now, 191.53. And should we break that, you'll see price was gathered right here in this area. We could possibly have trouble again, 192.20. Should we break that, 192.50, the ATR trailing stop is forming in that area around the 192.63, 192.50 area. However, breaking that for NVIDIA today, we had some trouble in this area here before. 192.95 could be a rejection area for us. So breaking that 193.23, and should we break that 193.68? So breaking the 193.68 for NVIDIA today, 194.03. Those are possible areas of resistance. Now, let's say we come back, lose this area of support around the 189.23. We can come back to 188.92, 188.43, 188.23, 187.94. Breaking the 187.94, 187.48. Now, breaking that 187.48, you see there's a few layers of support here. 187.11, 186. 685 down to the 186.23. Keep in mind, we could very well get stopped out or held up in this area here. So breaking that 186.25 area for NVIDIA. Again, there's a few layers of support down to the 185.16. So if you're trading NVIDIA today, those are possible areas of support and resistance. Again, not financial advice. I need to say that right. So we are now looking at the SPY. We closed at 682.39. Y'all see we've been back at this area. We kind of knew we could possibly have trouble. That 682.12 is a support area as of now, at the time of recording this video, pre-market. Now, it looks as if we could possibly have trouble again around the 682.73 back to the upside. And again, 683.23 right where that 20 EMA is, and our next level is right here at 683.74. That is where our 50 EMA is as of right now. But y'all see, those are just levels that we have marked. I say it often, y'all, I just love to see this, right? Because again, we would not have known that it would have been there. I need to remove that. So where are the trouble places continuing to the upside for the SPY? We would need to break above that 683.75. Possibly have trouble 684.27. Again, 684.88, really close to that 200 EMA on this 30-minute chart, breaking that. 685.21 is right at a level that we have close to that ATR trail and stop. Now, what's interesting for the SPY is, even though if we, have trouble break through the 685.32, we could possibly still have trouble 685.58 all the way up to the 686.51. So there's a lot of areas that we could very well get stopped out at. So let's say we break above all of this 686.51. The next level is around 686.93 and breaking that 687.23. Let's see. Yes, 687.23 and breaking that 687.57. So those are possible areas of resistance for the SPY. And it looks like there's a lot of resistance to the upside for the SPY. We can see it a little bit clearer this way, like so, but there is a lot of resistance to the upside. But again, I said often, y'all, anything is possible, right? So let's say we break under the 682.12 area for the SPY. We can come back to 681.35, breaking that 680.37. Should we break the 680.37 for the SPY, 679.95 could be an area of support. Now breaking that, y'all see there's a few layers of support here to the 679.23, and should we break that today, 678.47. Now breaking that 678.47, 678 or that 678, let's say that because that's kind of close. Now if we break that, we could very well come back to the 676.99. So those are kind of possible areas of support and resistance for the SPY. Again, I know that my SPY, Tesla, and NVIDIA charts are very, very congested only because I've been trading them, charting them, let's say that, for a while now. And again, when I look at support and resistance on a smaller scale, why? Because when I'm in the trade, I kind of want to know where my possible trouble places are. That's very important, right? So now we're looking at Tesla. And I say it so often, y'all, Tesla does what Tesla does, right? So we closed at 399.83. We have made a low of 396.66, which is interesting that we're just kind of like trading in this small range, small zone for Tesla. So are we setting up for something big to the upside or to the downside? That's important, right? So as of now, again, at 396.66 is support for us. We can use that 20 EMA as of now because price had trouble, and I'm going to mark that because there is a space in between that I need to kind of fill in, right? So price kind of had trouble in this area here. There's body, it touched this here a few times, and that is where our 20 EMA is as of now, but we're still having trouble in this area here. So that 698.62 back to the upside, we will need to clear that in order to move forward or move higher, right? So breaking that level, again, we could possibly have trouble again. Let's say something stopped us around that 399.17, which is really, really close. So let's just say breaking past the 398.62 for Tesla, we can come back to the $400.56, but keep in mind price gathered in this area. So that could be a trouble place area for us. From this place to this place, this could be our trouble area. So breaking beyond that, which brings us back to the 50 EMA at $400.56, we could possibly have trouble again. 401.32, again 402.11, 402.54 for Tesla, again at 403.68. That 404.80, in my opinion, is a strong area of resistance. It was support on yesterday. It's resistance today, right? So breaking that level, we could possibly have trouble again. 406.57, which is close to where our 200 EMA is on this 30-minute chart as of right now, and slightly, beyond that, 407.10. So 406.73, 407.10 could be a rejection area. Now breaking that, the next level, 407.89, and should we break that for Tesla today, 409.03. Breaking that today for Tesla, 410.01. So those are possible areas of resistance for Tesla. And I say it so often, y'all. Tesla does what Tesla does, right? So let's look to the downside under the 396.66. We could very well come back to 394.96 and breaking that 394.18. Should we break the 394.18, we could possibly come back to 392.73, 391.34, 390.42. Those are areas to the downside for Tesla. But you see here at this 390.42, there's a few layers down to the 389.01. Now breaking that 389.01 for Tesla, we could very well come back to 387.75, again at 386.99, not very far away, right? So I'm going to see if I can make that. There we are. So if we break that 386.99, the next level that I have marked is around the 384.91. Just keep in mind we could very well get stopped out anywhere in this area here for Tesla. So that's from the 386.99 down to the 384.91. Now breaking that 384.91, we could come back to the 383.39. And should we break that for Tesla, 381.68, which will be interesting, which not surprising. Let me say that it wouldn't surprise me to see us back at this 379.19 area or the 380 area for Tesla. I'm going to say it again, not financial advice. So this is what I see when I look at the market. I said so often, y'all, there's so many different ways to trade the market. And what's challenging is trying to figure out the strategy that works best for you and for you to have a plan before going into the trade. That's very, very important. And to have the discipline to execute your plan or follow your plan. So that's very, very important with trading. So I hope that everyone have a very profitable and a very productive day. As always, if you could please like, share, subscribe, y'all. I say it often, we learn and we grow together. So until next time, be blessed as well as a blessing unto others.